Something we're seeing quite a lot of today is the long dead corpses of old IPs being exhumed, pissed on, and then paraded around. The craziest thing about it is that the people who love the IP generally don't like the new games being made, as they cater to the newer generation of gamers, and the people who do like the new games being made have generally never even heard of the old IP, or if they have, it means nothing to them. I've heard literally hundreds of people refer to Fallout 3 simply as Fallout, as if the first two games don't exist in their world. Using the old IP name serves no real purpose because the brand awareness is practically nil amongst the target audience. There's a big divide in gaming culture pre and post 2000. Digging up IPs like Fallout, XCOM and Deus Ex, it just serves no purpose. Deus Ex fans do not want a fucking cover shooter with regenerating health. Anyway, the point I'm very angrily getting at is that the trend today is to cater to the new while also pissing off as much as possible the old. Except for LucasArts. LucasArts has become pretty awful over the last 13 years, with mediocre Star Wars game after mediocre Star Wars game, and nary an adventure game on their lists, let alone one that could compare with Curse or Hit the Road. But they got back a huge chunk of their geek cred with their glorious remastered re-release of Monkey Island, and their swanky new cut of Monkey Island 2 is even better. I'll warn you now though, you're going to need a tissue. I don't remember my exact words, but in my Mice 1 review I said something like, "It goes without saying that this game receives my highest possible score, because it's Monkey Island, and this re-release is even better." Or something like that. And that's exactly true of Mice 2 as well. Consequently, a review of the actual game would be pretty redundant. So I'm just going to discuss what improvements have been made and how awesome they are, because it really does go without saying that Monkey Island 2 is a great game, and shame on you if you haven't played it. But if you haven't, you get to experience for the first time a fantastic game, now with glorious new art, music, voice acting, and audio commentary, so lucky you. I adore commentary. I think it's something all games should be doing, just like all DVDs and BDs are doing it. But even more impressive than it being done here is who has actually done it. Ron Gilbert, Tim Schafer, and Dave Grossman. That pause was because you presumably wouldn't have been able to hear me speak over your very loud groans and grunts of orgasmic bliss. I bet you're glad you got that tissue. Those names may not mean much to you Fallout 3 equals Fallout punks, but if you're into Monkey Island, well, you really would have needed that tissue. Given that the game only costs £7, which is probably a few million American dollars, it's truly remarkable. Any individual part of the game is worth the price tag, be it the art, the voice acting, the music, or any other part, but best of all is this commentary. It actually threatens to overshadow the game itself, filled with tidbits and anecdotes, and these guys are funny people. The way it's implemented kind of annoys me, though. Every now and then a little message pops up saying press A to listen to the commentary, which mutes the game volume and runs the commentary track. This is cool and all, except that these windows of opportunity are sometimes limited, and worse yet, play over cutscenes and dialogue, meaning you have to choose between enjoying the game's dialogue and enjoying the commentary. It seems obvious to me that people should be given the opportunity to enjoy both by, if not through any other means, at the very least making each commentary track listen-toable through an options menu, perhaps with an accompanying video to go with it. Escape from Butcher Bay and Valve's games that feature commentary allow you to enjoy the full game and listen to the commentaries too, through clever positioning of the commentaries, or make the commentaries separate to the game experience, as in Team Fortress 2. These are both better ideas than Mice 2's implementation. But anyway, Mice 2 does at least allow you to listen to the commentary on your first playthrough rather than make the laborious effort of unlocking it first, so those of you who've played the game so many times you remember every single line will probably appreciate being able to go straight into the commentary. Carrying on from the first game, Mice 2 also has gorgeous new art, but just like Mice 1 you can also slide into the original graphics and UI anytime you want. Mice 2 has the same basic art style as the first re-release, but it's far more detailed, has a glossier look, and is generally much more attractive. The backdrops are actually jaw-droppingly beautiful, really, as static pieces of art, but as with the first game, the animations sort of let it down. This is, once again, most noticeable in that Guybrush can only move in 4 directions rather than in 8. This is to stay in line with the original game, but this is the one thing they should change. It just looks weird and bad to have a character walking to the left of the screen and then the back of the screen, sort of sliding in a weird diagonal way, rather than just facing diagonally and walking in a straight line. But one problem with Mice 1 that has been fixed is the timing of the dialogue. The original games, of course, had text and no voice acting, and the duration of the text was a little longer than the voice dialogue, as people typically read slower than they speak. This slower timing was kept intact for the voice version of Mice 1, which led to some weird, disjointed conversations with pauses between sentences. It was no game breaker, but it was annoying, and has thankfully been fixed for Mice 2. The dialogue flows much more smoothly now, and I'm sure we've all heard that adage about comedy and timing, so this is a much appreciated fix. The voice acting in general is, like Mice 1 and Curse, which shares the same cast, spectacular. The voices so completely embody the characters that I could not imagine anyone else doing any of the voices, and everything is delivered perfectly. The music is, unsurprisingly, just as good. With such an iconic score to draw from, it's kind of hard for it not to be, but it is great all the same, and there are actually some really cool remixes that I wasn't expecting. Unlike Telltale, the only other really big developer of graphical adventures, LucasArts still has the good sense to allow mouse-based movement, so you can click Guybrush around. You interact with things with the right mouse button, but you have to hold the right button and drag the cursor over the action you want to perform, which doesn't feel natural at all with the mouse. It was obviously designed for a pad. It's unfortunate that there's no click rather than hold option, but it's not a big deal. Overall, the controls are smooth and easy to use. And it's a little disgusting that I'm even saying that in a review of a graphical adventure game, but see my opening paragraph, and then write an angry email to Telltale. Overall, this is a fantastic little re-release that every adventure game fan and Monkey Island fan is going to want. LucasArts is 2 for 2 right now. Mice 1 and 2 are a dream come true for Monkey Island fans, but it's how the next 2 are handled that I find most interesting. Curse doesn't need to be touched at all. The music and voice acting are fantastic, the art is gorgeous, and the coin UI is perfect. Escape, on the other hand, has ghastly 3D graphics and terrible keyboard-based controls and UI, and everything needs to be changed. Monkey Island fans have a lot to be happy about right now, and if one thing can be said with certainty, it's that the future of Monkey Island is going to be very interesting indeed.